Scotland is making some big strides toward inclusion in classrooms. The country has become the first in the world to require an LGBTQ curriculum in schools.
Because, of course, they did. Why not? I think that maybe we should just take that final step and just every baby that's born, we either make sure that they are gay or trans, one or the other or both. Maybe we'll add in a third thing in there too. Why not? Have them some other weird sexuality. It doesn't make any sense at all. Glebosexual. That's what we'll call them. You all know I am the Anti-Woke Warrior. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate everybody supporting my channel. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. And let's get into this NPR news piece.
Jordan Daly remembers being a queer kid in Scotland.
At my school, LGBT people were the butt of jokes. It was something to be embarrassed about. It was something that you should be ashamed of. And that was certainly the messages that I got.
Well, you're the butt of jokes because you're LGBTQ. Hashtag ampersand question mark. You know who else was the butt of jokes in grade school when I was in grade school? Everybody. Everybody was the butt of jokes. Every kid got picked on and teased. Some got picked on more than others. People act like this is a new thing for kids to pick on people. I don't understand it. Whatever. Oh my gosh, you were the butt of jokes. Yeah, so is everybody else.
The experiences that I had pretty much destroyed my self-confidence.
Daly is not alone. LGBTQ students experience higher rates of bullying than their straight and cisgender peers in the US, according to the CDC.
Oh, the CDC says so. The CDC says it, therefore it must be true. That must also mean that being gay or trans is a disease. I'd like to see this statistic from the CDC. Maybe we could look it up. I won't because I don't care because I don't believe it. You know who was bullied when they were in school? A lot. Me. I was ridiculed. I was told I was stupid. I wouldn't amount to anything. I was beaten on a lot. I was insulted, called names, yelled at. And then I had to go to school and deal with the kids there. So you want to sit here and tell me that LGBTQ get bullied more than straights? You better bring some damn hard evidence because my whole childhood was a fucking nightmare.
Daly, who is 26, is trying to change that in Scotland with an educational approach. He's the director and co-founder of Time for Inclusive Education, the charity that has worked with the government to get LGBTQ curriculum into every school across the country.
Yeah, curriculum. What is this? Okay, so, boys, to be gay, what you got to do is go to your other boy over here. And what you're going to do with him now is you're going to take your pants off and you're going to how do you explain this to a child? Oh, we have curriculum on how to be gay. Okay, girls, now, did you realize that you actually have this hole in between your legs? You didn't know that, did you? Well, this is the thing you got to do. Okay, you got to get one of these things over here. Whips out a giant, big ol' self-pleasuring device for a woman to strap on. It's just like, what kind of batshit crazy notion is sweeping across the Western world these days? You don't see this stuff happening in China. They're laughing at us, right? Yeah, okay, you could say go to Thailand. Thailand is supposedly number one in the world for transgenderism and getting the operation, etc. But you don't have this push in these other countries to say we got to accept this. This is part of our lives. It's a big deal. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's always been with us. It's not like this is anything new. But we just lived our lives and knew this existed in the world.
The work will take a few years to fully roll out, but teachers in Scotland can get started right away. They now have access to a wide range of inclusive lesson plans and resources, plus free training for how to teach these courses to their students. Many of the lessons cover global LGBTQ icons, including Lady Gaga.
All right, at this point it breaks into Lady Gaga's Born This Way song, which I'm not going to play on YouTube because of copyright. I don't have the rights to it. It's probably a short enough clip that it wouldn't matter, but I'm not going to take the risk anyway. Yeah, I thought that the trans community kind of blew a giant hole in this Born This Way idea because they're born in the wrong bodies, so they have to change. But wait, you're born feeling the sexual attraction for... No, you're not. You're not. You're not born that way. Might have some sort of slight inclination one way or the other, but you make decisions. You have a life that is impacted everything that you do. It's in your head. It's not in your genes.
The course includes the pop star's LGBTQ anthem, Born This Way, and looks at how Gaga pushed for legal protections when one of her young fans died by suicide after being bullied online. Daly says this lesson is meant to teach about the impact of bullying and show queer youth they're not alone.
Yeah, you know who's never, ever, ever committed suicide is a straight person, especially straight men. They never do it. They never, ever have killed themselves, ever. It's only the LGBTQ people, and some occasionally just some straight women, because those are the only people that really matter in the world, right?
If I had sat through that lesson at school, I would have immediately understood there are other people who have experienced this. There are other people like me out there, and I have got so much to be proud of. And I think that would have completely changed my life.
Other lessons include how to respond to someone saying, "That's so gay," and how to start a gay-straight alliance at school.
Yeah, man. The phrase "that's so gay" is actually a very important phrase, and we need to keep using it. It refers to something being sissy, being weak, ineffectual. Starting a gay-straight alliance, it sounds to me like you're trying to not do that. This is exactly what you're trying not to do. Is you're trying to spread this message of gay is great, so don't be straight.
Teachers are also encouraged to fold queer people into everyday learning, like a math problem about a girl needing to buy her two dads a Father's Day card.
Yes, of course, because we all know that you can't add things together unless they're homosexual in some way. Or trans, I'm sorry. They are LGBTQ plus #ampersand ? Sorry, that's the correct terminology, right? They want to be exactly, because mathematics is very, very precise, right? So you gotta be precise here with this.
Daly and his team developed this curriculum alongside LGBTQ students, teachers, and researchers like Ashley Douglas. She helped create a lesson plan around Poem 49 from 16th century Scotland.
It's one woman writing to another woman about how much she adores her and loves her and how she wishes she could marry her. Like, there's no way to not read it as a lesbian poem.
The poem is unsurprisingly anonymous, and it's one of the earliest known lesbian poems in Europe.
Wait a second. Does that mean that over time, more and more people are becoming gay? Is that what that means? Because it seems like there's an increase. Like, we had this when I was a kid, but now it seems like every third person is trying to pull this off. Little scratcher.
Douglas says it's important to include works from long ago in today's curriculum.
Yeah. You know who else was gay a long, long ago? Them Greeks and Romans. The Greeks took it a step further and actually did their siblings. And there's people pushing for that too.
I think it's really powerful to have examples of historical gay figures in literature, just to make that point that gay people have always been around and always will be.
The lessons are tailored for kids of all ages, but Scott Mowat, a head teacher in Glasgow, says having an LGBTQ inclusive curriculum won't just benefit students. It'll also help queer teachers like him, who were long told not to talk about their personal lives in school.
Yeah, it's what I looked for when I was in grade school. One thing I missed was like my teachers talking about their personal lives. It wasn't enough that we had to study other cultures, mathematics, and science, history, and literature. We also needed to know about our teachers' personal lives. I mean, that's just super important, don't you know? We need to know about this stuff. We need to know that there are people who are abnormal when it comes to who they want to fall in love with. We need to know that. That's very, very important. We need to have that drilled right into our heads. Oh, wait. That's already a thing that we all understand when we're children? Okay.
We can't truly make our schools LGBT inclusive environments if our staff and families can't be themselves. Everyone's got to feel comfortable being themselves. And that's okay if people don't want to share as well, but people shouldn't feel the need to hide it in school.
Scotland's initiative is in stark contrast to many efforts to exclude LGBTQ education around the world. In the US, at least 5 school districts have banned pride flags from classrooms, calling them a political symbol.
Yeah, well, the only reason to have a pride flag in a classroom is if you're teaching about LGBTQ plus #pride, which is stupid. I'm born this way. I'm proud of it. Okay, I'm proud that I'm white. Why? What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't matter. You're making a bigger deal out of this than it should be. You already have equal rights. It's illegal. It's been illegal for generations now to harm people of this persuasion, as it should be. You shouldn't go around harming people just because They're abnormal. That's not okay. But this is just ridiculous. You're just trying to indoctrinate. It's public indoctrination system. Yay. You want another one.
And last week in London, parents of a primary school protested sex education and LGBTQ inclusive lessons.
My child, my choice! My child, my choice!
But in Scotland, organizer Jordan Daly says his team has not received substantial pushback on the initiative. Other countries from across the globe have even reached out, he says, to see if the Scottish model could work for them.
All right, I want to move into this article. It gives a slightly different view on the subject matter. Political Pandora. Scotland introduces alphabet people inclusive curriculum for schools. Setting the stage for the entire world, Scotland becomes the first country to make inclusion of the alphabet community mandatory in their education system. Great. Dismantling the popular belief that alphabet community is a recent trend, this step taken by the Scottish government has taken a colossal step to ensure inclusion by acknowledging and normalizing the history of the community. Well, there is a rise in the alphabet community in more recent years. And why do you bother normalizing the history of something which is abnormal? That doesn't make any sense to me. Education systems around the world adopt a conservative nature with limited or no reference to the history and relevance of information about S orientation and personal identity. I was laughing here a little bit because no, they don't take a conservative nature. My schooling was not conservative. It was very liberal. I was taught that the Europeans came to America and destroyed all the Native Americans. That was the reason why they did it. In an attempt to keep up a certain moral standard, leading countries fail to incorporate alphabet inclusive learning and comprehensive sexual education. I was 12 when I had sex ed. I didn't learn about how gay people were doing it. Leaving no room for inclusion or allowing an understanding of oneself, various activists have blamed schools for their lack of knowledge about the community. Having a prominent and accurate role in history, activists believe that the teaching and learning of alphabet people history is not a method of activism, but is simply a way of presenting all the facts. We should present all the facts. You're right. We talk about what the Russians did to the German women after they invaded Germany in World War II. Why don't we teach that? I know why we don't teach that. It's a horrible thing that happened, and we don't want people rising up against Russians. In Scotland, the movement to change their education system was ignited by an alphabet group advocacy known as the Time for Inclusive Education, the TIE. The group successfully lobbied the change in Scotland Parliament and opened access to various materials and libraries to educators to better support the student population. The new curriculum has further ensured that both the younger and older generation have access to such learning. Just what they need. Apart from now being required to learn about the history of the LGBT community, integration across all subject areas has been encouraged. For instance, math problems, normalizing homosexual families and parenting, and coloring pages with relevant cultural examples for younger children have become increasingly common in classrooms. You know what kids are? Kids are stupid, especially little kids that are using coloring books. I'm going to use myself as an example. Just to prove that this has not been kept away from people, I come from the Midwest, where it's considered pretty conservative in this country. And when I was like 5 years old, I thought, you know what, when I grow up, I'm going to get a sex change so that I can know what it's like to kiss a man with a mustache. I'm not joking. I have vivid memories of thinking that on more than one occasion. So, yeah, kids are stupid. That's absolutely not a reason to get a sex change. Not even a little bit. The new curriculum in Scotland has received widespread support from people all over the world. Of course it has. It has set a new standard for inclusive education and allows for other countries' laws and education systems to be questioned. The change has been championed by TIE in collaboration with the local government and Holyrood officials, alongside the support of Children's Minister Claire Hoghay. I wonder what she looks like. Various states across the United States have been brought to the forefront of such questioning with laws that put the alphabet community in a derogatory position. Oklahoma, for instance, has been widely condemned for its AIDS prevention laws, wherein the first step to AIDS prevention restricts citizens from engaging in homosexual activity. Such measures and laws exist across the world with the intent of maintaining a moral standard and pleasing a conservative audience. Yeah, okay, you're going to call out Oklahoma? Why don't you call it one of the southern states where it's 100% illegal to do that stuff? And not only that, it's 100% illegal to have heterosexual sex in certain positions. But call it Oklahoma. And you know what? Oklahoma here is not saying, hey, it's wrong to be gay. They're saying being gay spreads AIDS. And the model that I learned when I was in school is, yeah, the reason that we have AIDS is because of homosexuals. Because you're much more likely to spread STDs if you do the butt stuff. As countries such as Scotland take up the initiative to introduce an alphabet-inclusive curriculum, unrest grows at a global scale to ensure such inclusive change everywhere, breaking heteronormativity, normalizing and curating a truly inclusive structure of learning for all. Nobody stood up for me when I was being bullied. Nobody helped me with what I went through when I was a child. But, oh, you have an actual identifiable problem? Which, by the way, I have an identifiable problem too. I'm short, but nobody cares about that. You like butt stuff? You like munching on rug? You got your back. You short white man? Screw you. Go to hell. We don't care about you. Man, this stuff makes me so angry. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below. And that's all I got for you this time. I'll see you in the next video.